Hello, good night. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Now, go ahead, put your questions in the comments. I'm here to answer your immigration related questions. I also have a great topic to talk to you about. It's going to be how long will it take to get your permanent residence through certain family members? I know that's a popular one. And so I'm going to go through each category and tell you how long it's going to take to get your green card through certain family members. So I'm going to start with immediate relatives of US citizens. Immediate relatives of US citizens, right now, processing times are taking anywhere from 18 months to up to 3 years, but I'm seeing an average of 18 to 24 months to get permanent residence in the United States, whether you're outside of the United States or you're in the United States. That is the processing time for immediate relatives of US citizens. But keep in mind, immediate relatives of US citizens does not mean that it's going to be all relatives of US citizens. Immediate relatives of US citizens under immigration law is really comes down to a limited number of individuals. It's going to be the spouse of a US citizen, the parent of a US citizen, and the US citizen is 21 or up, or the son or daughter of a US citizen who is under 21 and unmarried. So if you fall within this category, you're within the category that's taking the fastest amount of time. And the great thing about being the immediate relative of a US citizen is that you'll never have to wait for what's called an immigrant visa number to become available. That immigrant visa number is really what takes up most of the time. This is what causes processes to turn into decades worth of waiting. And so even though the system is backlogged just because of administrative internal processes and delays, you don't have to wait for that. And that's why it's always going to be the fastest process. Now we'll talk about other categories. If you're listening, you don't fall within this category. I'm bound to basically tell you the category that you're in based on your family relationship. So if you are not the immediate relative of a US citizen, then that means that you fall into other categories. And so the next category is if you are the son or daughter of a US citizen, you are 21 or up, and you're unmarried. If you fall within this category, it's taking 6 to 7 years right now to get to be able to complete your process. Now, this is where I'm going to explain why it takes so long. Now, every immigrant outside of the immediate relatives of US citizens have to wait for an immigrant visa number to become available. Once they get approved for their petition, that's the I-130 petition, is the initial petition that your relative files for in order to start the process. Then it moves to the National Visa Center and they wait for an immigrant visa number to become available based on your category. But because so many people apply for this type of this category, there are more applications than there are immigrant visa numbers available each year. Because of that, you have to go on a wait list. And now, right now, this wait list is 6 to 7 years long. So that's what's causing the backlog in all the other the different categories. Now, the next category is if you are the son or daughter of a green card holder, you're under 21 and unmarried, or you're the spouse of a green card holder. There's great news for this one right now because there is no wait list for an immigrant visa number. That does not happen often, but right now that's happening. It means that it's going at the same pace as it would if you were the immediate relative of a US citizen. So it is one of the faster processes right now, but it doesn't mean that that's going to last. So if you're in this category, you need to get on it, need to have your situation evaluated and get started on applying should you qualify for this. Now, the next category is if you are the son or daughter of a green card holder and you are 21 or up and unmarried. Green card holders can't ever file for their married children. Your parent would have to become a US citizen to file for their married children. So in this case, if you're the son or daughter of a green card holder, you're 21 and up, unmarried, you could qualify. It's taking 5 to 6 years right now for that to happen. The great thing about being being in the other categories is that you can carry along your dependents, so your children who are under 21 and unmarried. So in this case, if you're the son or daughter of a green card holder, you're unmarried, but you have children, those children can go along with you. If you are the married son or daughter of a US citizen, unfortunately, it's taking about 12 years. But when the 12 years is up and you've been processed, you can take your spouse and children along with you in that category. And if you are the son or daughter, the sibling of a US citizen, and that US citizen is 21 and up, it's taking 14 years. 14 years at minimum. In some countries like Mexico, it's taking like 22 years, so a long time, but you would be able to take your spouse and your children along with you. So that in a nutshell is what the processing times are like right now. I'm going to stop to answer questions, and I see questions coming in right now. So I need assistance to write an expedite. So Monat 24, I would have to evaluate your situation to determine whether you qualify for to expedite your case. You can always call and schedule a consultation to get evaluated. And then we can talk about me representing you should you qualify. This is something, at this point, I don't help people to apply on their own. I represent clients through the process. And so I would just want to evaluate your situation and determine whether I could represent you on it. And Vince, Mami, I'm looking forward to speaking with you. I'm so happy that you've taken those steps. So good evening. I have a friend that misplaced her B1, B2 apps in the consulate are scheduled until the end of 2022. She needs to travel to Europe next month. Would she be approved for a transit visa? The appointments for transit visas are available this month. So Kellogg's, I wouldn't be able to say whether she can whether or not she qualifies, whether she can apply. I would have to speak with her in a consultation to determine whether she would be able to qualify. So I wouldn't be able to tell you whether she would qualify for that. When she's applying, she can always apply at her own risk, of course. And they would she would have to go in, be straight up with them, tell them what's going on, and they would be able to address her issues. All right. Great questions so far. Keep those questions coming. So my AOS interview is coming up, but my I-130 has been approved already. Is that a good sign? So it depends. If your case is marriage based and your I-130 is approved, or it's approved based on the family relationship, then that's definitely going in the right direction. There's definitely no harm in having an approved I-130. When they're going into the interview, they're going into the adjustment of status. They're just going to make sure that you qualify in every other way and you don't have any other issues going on. So yeah, that's definitely good news with them. But as for, I don't know your case, F-KISS, that's where you should always schedule a consultation if there's something you're concerned about. Kellogg's fan, you're welcome. Thanks for your question. Kazakhs Nova, you're welcome. So can I travel domestically with just a green card if my passport has expired? Yes. Well, Now, keep in mind, it really depends on what identification they require. So, if in your case the green card is a government issued ID, you'd have to call the airline or call the airport and ask them what documents are they accepting for you to travel domestically. But usually, it should not. That's having government issued identification that's valid, such as a green card, should qualify you to travel within the United States. But to be sure, because I'm not giving you personal legal advice, you need to go ahead and call the airline. How much more time would USCIS take to approve the green card after VAWA approval? In 33 months. So I wouldn't be able to tell you that. What is the fastest process for a Canadian unrecognized artist? I'm currently looking at TN or O1. So Kazakhs Nova, you should definitely schedule a consultation. In this case, it's a very specific question, and I would have to first evaluate your qualifications to determine whether you qualify for the TN or whether the O1 is the better fit. And it's going to depend on how you qualify. So, you could stay in the US and apply for either change your status if you qualify, or you could, for example, the TN, you could do it when you're coming in as long as there are no restrictions. But you have to do that consult to determine which one would be best for you, because how fast it's going to go, how much it makes sense is going to come down to your qualifications for those. All right. Oh, thanks so much, Vince, Mammy. I'm so happy that you feel comfortable, and I'm excited too. It's a big step that you're taking, and it is well worth it. So, Mamta, if someone filed asylum 2 years ago and has immigration court dates pushed back 2, 3 times, are there any other options? So it's going to depend on what your situation is. Do you qualify in any other way other than asylum? And that's going to come down to a consultation. If my sibling is an American citizen, how long is the process for her filing for me? So you're looking at a minimum of 14 years. And in Mexico, it's 22 years. So it's going to depend on where you are, but it is taking a while. So you'd have to be fully invested. If that is the only way to qualify, then you need to jump on it now so you get in line for that green card. Okay, so how soon after the consultation could we move forward with the application? Great question, Finn's Mammy. I start right away. So whenever my clients, we confirm representation. At that point, once we've confirmed representation, we get on it right away. We schedule the client meeting where we will start to put all the documentation together. You do get a welcome letter. The welcome letter as a client tells you everything that we're going to need to get started. And then we don't stop working until we have everything to go. So it could take a matter of weeks, not months in our case. And then, of course, it comes down to our clients, and it comes down to the level of work that it's going to take. But on our end, so for example, sometimes we have to do additional background checks. Sometimes we have to do additional legal work. We have to go through agencies. And so working with other agencies, it can take a little longer in those cases. But on our end, we do our best to make sure we get every case in as urgently as possible. Okay, no, but really though, you're welcome. What are the process for filing under brother for my papers? So first, your brother would file what's called the I-130 petition with the evidence to show that you're the sibling and that you qualify for this. And then it's a matter of waiting for an approval. But keep in mind, having the approval is not going to be the end of your process. And it doesn't mean that you've been approved for permanent residence. What it means is that they've seen that you do have a qualifying relationship, and so they're going to approve it and pass it on to the National Visa Center. The National Visa Center is the middle, I like to say they're the middleman between the petitioner, the immigrant, and the embassy. So at that point, there's a lot more paperwork that's involved. When I represent clients through that process, it's called consular processing. I send documentation, there's an additional application that has to be submitted. And then when the National Visa Center gets everything, at that point, they send it to the embassy, but you have to wait for that immigrant visa number to become available. And that right now, the wait is taking 14 years to 22 years, depending on the country you're in. If you're in the Caribbean, it's taking about 14 years. If you're in Mexico, it's taking 22 years. Can I make my move first, stay for the 6 months and apply while I'm already in the States? So Kazakhs, Nova, it's going to depend. So I think you asked about the O1 or the TN. Now, if you have a stay, you never, with these types of visas, when you're changing status from a non-immigrant status to another non-immigrant status, you should never be overstaying. And so you want to make sure that you give yourself enough time for your application to be processed and still maintain your status. So Kazakhs Nova, whether you can come here and then apply to change status is going to come down to, once again, what do you qualify for? What are your intentions? And also keep in mind that coming in with one intention and then doing something else can also have a negative effect on your process. So you have to be careful with that. That's where you need to make sure you get legal representation to make sure that you understand all the implications involved. How long does it take for asylum approval, India? So, it depends on the service center. And I did a video on YouTube, actually. I'm the immigration attorney on YouTube. I just did the video, so you'll see it at the top of the videos on my channel. And I share my screen and show exactly how you can check your own case processing times. So you can go ahead and do that, Mamta. Look at which service center your case is being processed, and then you can see what the range of time is that they're taking. Hi there, Ruthie. It's nice to see you. Okay, so Finn's Mommy, how would I send the documents? Is it email or post? So we can work remotely with our clients, actually, with COVID and representing my clients all over the country. We have gotten this down to a T. So we exchange documentation by both my client portal. So all my clients have a secure portal where they can upload their documents, but where we need original documents, I do work with FedEx to get those documents transported between my clients and I. So we work through courier, and then we work through the secure client portal. Mamta, you're welcome. All right, so great questions so far. Thank you so much for your questions. And Kazakhs Nova, thanks for the gifts, thanks for the love. Finn's Mommy, I'm looking forward to talking with you more, and I can definitely break down everything that is going to be needed and everything that my representation is going to entail here. Thanks for your questions. I will be heading on over to Instagram. I'm finished with the topic that I came to talk about, but I'm heading on over to Instagram. And I'm the Immigration Attorney on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook. Finn's Mommy, I am too. I'm so excited. I know I've seen you multiple times. We've spoken back and forth, and I'm so happy that we can speak in a more private setting for sure, and that I can help you. I know I can. So let's talk and just get into the details and the nitty-gritty of it all, and then get started. So join me on Instagram in a minute. I'm heading on over there, or on Facebook. So I'm ST Law Office. Oh, thank you so much, Finn's Mommy. I'm ST Law Office. So S as in Sam, T as in Tom, Law Office on Facebook. So you can join me on any one of those, and we can continue this conversation. I see one more question. Can an immigration officer demand that you hand over your cell phone and demand you unlock it? So that is at the border. So if you're coming through the airport, then that is common for the officer to check your phone. Yeah, so that is a common thing. So Christina Williams, cost for consultation. That's on YouTube. The cost for the consultation is $150 for up to 1 hour. In that time, I don't just glaze over your information. I really get in depth to make sure I fully understand what you're going through. I fully, and in order to enable me to present the options that you qualify for. So it is an investment, and it is well worth it. You know your options coming out. You avoid mistakes. Speaking of mistakes, even tonight, the reason I chose this topic of processing times, is because some people, for example, they come to the United States and they have a U.S. citizen sibling. They end up overstaying, thinking they can easily apply for status through their U.S. citizen sister here in the United States, and then they get a rude awakening. That's why I always encourage you, before you take any steps make any decisions, that you get a legal consultation. I'm on your side. I want to make sure that you fully understand what's going on in your case, that you're protected, and that you avoid those devastating mistakes. Because once in that case, where there's a misconception that you can apply while being in the U.S. through a sibling. It's different, for example, for immediate relatives of U.S. citizens versus siblings of U.S. citizens. And so it's important for you to understand that distinction and move ahead with a process that's going to work for you. So I appreciate you coming. I hope to speak with you in a consultation. Join me on Instagram. I'm not done yet. I'm just hopping on over to another platform so I can continue to share information and answer questions. So join me on Instagram and also Facebook, ST Law Office on Facebook, and also the Immigration Attorney on Instagram. If you're on TikTok right now, also follow me, subscribe on the YouTube channel, because I do have different content on YouTube. And today I released a video showing how you can check case processing times based on the form that you have pending, based on the USCIS office that your process is pending. So it's a good tool for you to understand and use for yourself. So go over there, subscribe, and then go check out that video. All right, have a good night. See you in a minute on Instagram or Facebook, or I'll see you tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern time, or I'll speak with you in a consultation. Finn's Mommy, have a great night, and I will speak with you soon. Have a good night.